for eddy current testing follows three basic elements. One is the instrumentation, second one is probe, eddy current probe for generating, and which second one is probe, eddy current probe for generating eddy currents and some reference standards. So based on which only you will be able to come to a conclusion whether it is a flaw or some other defect. Okay, so for eddy current testing you need these three devices, so instrumentation, probes, and some reference standards. Okay, so as far as the instrumentations are concerned, so these are all nothing but meters. So the meters may be of a digital meter as well as analog meter, like our in automobiles and all. No, so you have analog meters which will have the pointer which will point, say for example speed indicator, fuel level indicator. So there is only one needle which will point the amount of certain quantity. If it is fuel, so how much quantity of fuel is available, and if it is a speed, at what speed the vehicle is moving. So that is what called analog meter. In digital meter you have the digital readout, so that you are not what do you call calibrate it for a particular amount of thing. For example, if tank is full, the needle full point at the F level. So if it is off, it should be in the off level. So the digital readouts will give you the digital reading of it. So like in eddy current testing also you have these two kind of instrumentation. And as far as the digital meters in these eddy current testings are concerned, so they are used to examine some specific attribute of a test component, such as conductivity or non-conductive coating thickness. So these are all can be measured by means of this digital meter, and it has slightly higher accuracy than the analog device. So the accuracy of this device is somewhat higher than the analog meter. Okay, so analog meters can be used for many inspection applications such as crack detection, material thickness measurements, coating measurements, and all can be done using these analog meters. Okay, so analog meters will point the amount of the quantity you are measuring. If it is voltage or if it is magnetic flux, that will be indicated by the needle in the analog meters. And you have certain portable eddy scopes. Eddy current scopes can be of a portable, because or you may need to have your instruments to be portable to the different places. So in for such cases you have a portable eddy scopes as well. And these scopes present the inspection data in the form of an impedance plane diagram. Okay, so this is the impedance plane diagram which shows the conductivity of the different material including air. So this we have already discussed in the previous class. So nowadays eddy scopes are digital based only. Okay, so this can be either purchased as a single or dual frequency tester. So dual frequency instruments are like driving a probe at two different inspection frequencies. Okay, so if one frequency misses the crack, the another frequency will cover that crack. Okay, so that is what the dual frequency inspection devices as well. Okay, now here the probe will be operated at more than one frequency level. Okay, so that is what called multi-frequency eddy current instruments. Will drive the coils at more than two frequencies. So this type of instrumentation is used for tubing inspection, such as in the power generation, chemical and petrochemical industries. There the tubes are to be tested by means of NDE method. So in those cases, these multi-frequency instruments are better candidate for such kind of applications. Okay, and these instruments are also computer networked, and may have many as many as 4 probes attached to that on a time. Okay, so if it is connected with the computer, you have the better capability of recognizing the more frequency signals which are generated out of the instruments. So the multi-frequency inspection devices are having certain advantages over the other method. So it allows increased inspection information to be collected from one probe pulling. So in a single probe pulling, you get a multi information, and it also provides some comparison for same discontinuity signal at different frequencies. Okay, so if you are having some discontinuity, so since it is operating at a multi-frequency level, so it shows the multiple deviations for the same discontinuity. Okay, and it allows mixing of frequencies, which will help to reduce or eliminate sources of noises. So in workplace or in testing place, there may be unwanted noises. This can be avoided, or this can be clearly identified by means of this multi-frequency inspection devices. So, and this also improves detection and interpretation and sizing capabilities of the discontinuities. It can be in an enhanced way by means of this multi-frequency inspection devices. Okay, and this is what called the plot of a multi-frequency inspection device. Okay, here you have more frequency lines for a single crack. So this was the commercial eddy current probes available for testing. Okay, these are all available in the market. This can be used for eddy current testing. So how to select a probe for a particular application? So for that, you need to keep in mind some of the factors. So some of them are given over here. So first one is the material penetration requirements. Either you are doing the testing on surface level or subsurface level. Then sensitivity requirements, how sense the probe should be for a particular kind of material. Okay, and type of probe connections on eddy current instruments. So you have a different variations in this connection of probe with the eddy current instrument, and you should match the probe and instrument impedance. Okay, so either the probe will work with the instrument or not, that needs to be checked. And probe size, either you are going for a small kind of probe, or you want to have penetration type, deeper penetration. So depending upon that, probe size should be selected. For smaller penetration, small probes are sufficient. For larger penetration, you need more amount of probe. Okay, and the classification of these devices can be done based on either configuration or mode of operation. Okay, so the configuration generally refers to the way the coil and coils are packaged to best couple the test area of interest. So that is what called configuration. And based on the mode of operation, so this refers to the way the coil or coils are wired and interface with the test equipment. So based on these two category, the instrument can be classified. So based on configuration, so the probes may be classified as surface probe, inside diameter, or bobbin probes, outside diameter, or encircling coils. So like this, the probes can be classified. Okay. So based on the mode of operation, so absolute probe, differential probe, reflection probe, hybrid probes. So absolute probe, in the sense, it will tell the absolute values. So this is the quantity of magnetic field generated. That is what absolute probe. The differential probes will tell you the amount of difference for what you call magnetic field induced and magnetic field generated. Okay, so certain probes will observe the reflection of your magnetic field, and you may have the hybrid cases also. Okay, so absolute and differential probes can be hybridized to have a better understanding. So surface probes are generally coils that are mounted close to the one end of a plastic housing. So like that here, the coils are rounded and it is attached to the one end of a plastic. So in this end, the coils are wounded. Okay. So as the name tells, the technician moves the coil end of the probe or the surface of the instrument component. Okay, so the probe is placed onto the surface to be tested, and it is moved for the changes in the magnetic fluxes. Okay, so some probes are specifically designed for crack detection of fastener holes. So in fastener holes also you may have some cracks. So these include sliding probes, ring probes, hole probes. So these are all some of the probes used for hole crack detection in a fastener hole. Okay. So surface probes can be very small in size to allow accessibility to some confined area. So in some cases you cannot send the probe of a bigger size or lengthier one. So in those cases you have a small probe as well. So that kind of probes are one of that kind of probes are finger probe. So wherever you want to place or wherever you want to test, you can move your finger over there and you can get information of cracks and all from that area. So the next probe is the inside probe. As the name tells, it is used inside a hollow area. Okay. This is also known as a bobbin probe. So, and these are all simply coils that are usually wound circumferentially around a plastic housing. Okay, so like this. So here the coils are wound round. Okay, and these probes are primarily designed for inspection inside of a tubular materials. Okay, for example, the tubes can be inspected by means of this ID diameter probes. The next one is the wode diameter probe, like this. So the external surfaces of a component are tested by means of this wode diameter probe, and here the coils are wound on the circumference of a hollow fixture. So the coils are designed such that test part is run through the middle of the coil. So the coil will be held in position and the test piece will be sent through that hole available in the probe. These probes are used to inspect bars, rods, as well as some tubes. So the probe will carry the information of that characteristics. So the next case, it is a absolute probe. So they have single test coil. So that is used to both generate and sense changes in the eddy current field. So it can be used for flaw detection, conductivity measurements, lift-off measurements, and thickness measurements. So they are widely used due to their versatility. So it can be used for any kind of materials. Okay. See, these probes are sensitive to things such as conductivity, permeability, lift-off, and temperature. So steps must be taken to minimize these variables. So when these are not important to the inspection being performed, that needs to be eliminated. And this was the absolute probe case. Okay. So when the absolute probe is moved here, you have changes in the signal. So you have a crack here, you have some abnormal signal changes in this signal while the probe crosses the crack portion. And the differential probes. So since it sends and receives signal, it needs two active coils. Okay. So here these two coils are wound in a opposite direction or in addition. Okay. So when the two coils are over a flaw-free area of test sample, there is no differential signal developed between the coils since they are both inspecting identical material. Okay. So, however, when one coil is over a defect and other is over a good material, so it differentiates the signal and differential signal is produced. Okay. So that is what differential probes. Okay. So it will compare good and bad thing in a simultaneous manner. So that is what called differential probes. So this was the differential probes used. So here, for example, when you move this at a differential probe, the first coil will have the accessibility to crack, whereas the second coil will be at the good material area, so that it has the two kind of data for comparison. So this was the absolute differential coil. Okay. So one coil checks the crack detection, another coil is at the good material portion. Okay. This is what we have seen already. So the next kind of thing is the reflection probes. So they also have two coils similar to a differential probe. So one coil is used to excite the eddy current and other is used to sense the signal. So this is a reflection probe, but one coil is used to excite the eddy current and other is used to sense the. These arrangement are often referred to as a driver pickup probes. One is a driver, another one is a pickup probe. Okay. So the figure shows the reflection probe category. Okay. So you have an exciting coil and it generates the eddy currents, and the pickup coil sends the eddy currents developed, secondary eddy current developed, and it compares it. Okay. So these reflection probes can also be positioned opposite to each other as well. Okay. So when compared to the advantages of these reflection probes, so the driver and pickup coils can be separately optimized for their intended purpose. So the driver coil can be made so as to produce a strong and uniform flex field in the vicinity of the pickup coil, while the pickup coil can be made very small so that it will be sensitive to very small defects as well. So that is one of the important characteristics that a differential probe possess. Okay. So here it shows the differential probes of different kinds. Okay. So here you have exciting coil. This is the tube to be tested. You have exciting coil, and over which you have a receiving coil. So here the exciting and the receiving coils are outside of the component. Here it is inside of the component. Here one is outside, one is inside. So like that, you have a number of cases by which you can arrange these exciting and receiving coils. Okay. So here instead of having the encircling pickup, you have a standard pickup. The tubes can be rotated so that one end sends the signal, other end receives the signals regarding defects and all. So the last category is the hybrid probe. Okay, so it is called as a split of differential probes. Okay, so this probe has driver coil that surrounds a 2D shaped sensing coil. Okay, so you have a D-shaped coil. So that is what called split D. Okay, so it appears in the D shape. One D is on the right side, another D on the left side. So here you have a pickup coils in the split form. The driver coil is covering the pickup coil. So it operates in the reflection mode, but additionally, its sensing coils operate in a differential mode. So that is why it is called as a hybrid probe. Okay, this type of probe is very sensitive to surface cracks. So one of the examples of this hybrid probe is one that uses a conventional coil to generate eddy currents in the material, but then uses a differential type of sensor to detect changes on the surface and within the test material. Okay, so you have another category of hybrid probe as well. Okay, so like that one uses a Hall effect sensor to detect changes in the magnetic flux leakage so from the test surface. But hybrid probes are usually specially designed for some specific inspection application. So based on the application only, these hybrid coils are designed and manufactured. So then, in the instrumentation part, you have a reference standards. Reference standards in the sense, for example, the hole size variation, crack variation, the position of the crack present or position of the blowholes present in a casting. So these are also some of the reference standards. Okay, so these standards are used for calibration purposes of the instruments. So these reference standards will give the eddy current inspector some useful data while conducting an inspection. Okay. So regarding the signals generated from the test specimen, so with the known values. For example, as I told already, the hole size, the presence of the location of the hole and all. Reference standards are manufactured from a same or very similar material as the test specimen. For example, if the component to be tested is of steel, the reference standards should also be made by the steel because the density and material properties will alter the eddy current generation and all. Okay, so you have different types of standards due to variety of eddy current inspections performed. Okay, so for eddy current testing, the material should be of conductive in nature. So that is also one of the important requirement for eddy current testing. Okay, and material thickness standards. So these eddy currents can be used to test the thickness. So thickness of certain material. For example, why do you need to know the thickness means? So in chemical applications, for example, in a petrochemical application, due to corrosion or a chemical reaction, the thickness of the pipe may be getting reduced. So that cannot be split open and tested. Okay. So in those cases, these eddy current devices are used for checking the thickness of your pipe and all. Okay. So there the thickness reduction is due to either corrosion or chemical reaction of the chemical fluid flowing through it. So for such cases, the material should be capable of presenting the inspector the thickness of the material, exact thickness of the material. For that, it is calibrated with the some standard thicknesses. Okay. So the such kind of thickness gauges are like this. So crack standards. Okay, so the crack standards in the sense the characteristics of the crack, such as width, depth, and the orientation and all. So you have standards for cracks as well. So for EDM notches, for fastener holes, okay. So you may have the fastener hole. So some standards are available for that also. And tubing pit standard. So tubing pit standard in the sense you have a holes and grooves machined at different percentages of wall thicknesses. Okay. what for various wall thicknesses it has been uh, generated. So you know these markings dimension. So and the changes in the eddy current while you test this thing can be identified or calibrated. So this is the non-conductive coating standard. Okay, so depending upon the color nature, so the reflection of the eddy currents may happen. So that are all calibrated using this non-conductive uh, coating standard. So where do we apply the eddy current testings are like this. Okay. So the thicknesses of the aircraft are cracks present in the aircraft. So in a boiler cell, you may want to check the thickness of the tube due to the corrosion and erosion like that. So first of all, it is used to identify the crack. So detection of crack is done using this eddy current testing method. So these cracks cause a disruption in the circular flow pattern of eddy currents and weaken their strength. Okay, so this already we saw. We are generating a eddy current, and due to the presence of crack, so there is a loss of eddy current. So that change in the eddy current can be a good marking of the identification for crack. So this change in strength at the crack location can be detected. Okay. So this was the one of the crack detection method. And here car wheel is checked for crack detection. So you have a crack signal generated in the display of your eddy current device. So this can be used to measure the material thickness. Okay, so within certain limitation, all the thicknesses cannot be measured by means of this method. Only certain amount of eddy currents can form in a given volume of material. So therefore, thicker materials will support more eddy currents than a thinner material. Okay, so the strength of eddy currents can be measured and related to the material thickness. So like this. So here you are measuring a test piece for different thicknesses. So the more thicker material will affect the eddy currents in a larger way than the thinner material. Okay, these are all some of the applications. I think we'll stop here. network போயிருச்சு சொல்லவே இல்லை ஒருத்தன்